So, though I am sick, and you can probably hear it in my voice. But, okay, here we go. Also, Merry Christmas. I hope everything's going well. I hope you got what you asked for. If you didn't, it's okay. Try again next year. Or you can get a job and get it yourself. That's all, if you're old enough. If you're not, I don't know what to tell you because we're everything's just expensive now. Everything. I don't know what to tell you. Tough. So, no. Right. I recently went to a mall with my wife, and I was just looking at. We don't usually go to malls. Right, we're not mall people like that. But I was just looking at these stores and some of these names and stuff. It's just some of these stores gotta be money. Some of these owners for these stores have to be money laundering because it doesn't make some of these stores don't make no sense. The names don't make sense. More than half the stores in the mall, it's just people bottom. It's just nobody's going in there. Y'all look bored as hell. Y'all making $10, $12 an hour, if that, just to sit on y'all ass, on y'all phone, dead ass. I cannot tell you how many times we went to the mall. It just walked past employees in these stores. Stores empty as hell. Ain't nobody in there. And I'm just how are y'all making money? I don't understand. It don't make no damn sense. I don't understand that. I don't. For real. They gotta be money laundering or some shit.
A few years ago, I went Christmas shopping one night by myself.
You had to show the Nike. You had to show the Nike logo. You couldn't show Adidas. Oh, okay.
For a little more details, I will also mention that I'm a female. I had already gotten some gifts for family and friends, but I wanted to complete all my shopping, and I had several things still to buy, including a gift for my husband. I ended up getting out of work a little bit early, so I decided to go shopping straight from there. First, I went to a local shopping center that had a few strip malls close to each other. I went to a couple of the stores and spent a bit of time there. After finding a couple of things, I left and walked back to my car in the parking lot. I remember that I was parked pretty much right in the middle of it. When I was about to drive away, I just remembered that I noticed there was somebody in a car looking at me. I didn't think much of it, but the car was parked in the next row over, and some guy was in the driver's seat just staring in my direction.
Oh, God.
Within a few seconds, though, I looked away, and then I drove off. After that, I ended up going to Target, which was just a couple of miles away from there. When I got there, I did some more shopping, and was inside the store for a good 30 minutes at least. I got a number of different things, not all gifts for people. But anyways, I left Target and walked out to my car. When I got inside, once more, I noticed somebody was looking at me. There was a car parked in a similar distance to the one before, and it looked like the same man was behind the wheel. He was looking at me like before, and that's when I thought that it was really strange. Why would he be here too? I even wondered if he had followed me or something. I wanted to leave right after noticing him, so I started my car and began to drive away. When I left the parking lot, I did not notice the man leaving or anything, so I felt a little bit better. I figured that maybe he had followed me from the strip mall to the Target without me noticing. So I just had one more stop to make after that. I was going to a nearby grocery store on the way home to get a few things for dinner. I stopped there and I parked and then went inside. I got all the things that I needed, and I was in the store for maybe 10 to 15 minutes if I had to guess. After I left, I walked out to my car again. When I did, at first, I didn't see anything, but I looked around just to be safe. When I looked around, I just barely noticed the same guy was watching me yet again. He was parked in a spot that was across from mine, and similar to the 2 other times, except it was not as easily visible to where I was because there were a few other cars sort of in the way. When I saw him again, I really couldn't believe it. I was very confused and had no idea what was going on, but I knew that I wanted to get out of there and just go home. So I left and drove away, very careful to watch the car to see if it would follow me. When I made it to the end of the parking lot, once more I did not notice him. He was still parked there when I left, and he quickly was out of my sight. So at that point, I drove the rest of the way home, which was under 10 minutes. I got back, parked my car in the driveway, and went inside. My husband was already home, and then I unloaded all the groceries and stuff. Just after that though, I happened to notice out a window a car pulling over to the side of the street.
Oh my God.
When I did, I realized that it was the same car. That meant the same man was behind the wheel. I had no idea how he found me. I told my husband about what happened and how the car was there. I suggested calling the police, but my husband had other ideas.
What?
As soon as he got wind of it, he went over to the closet by the door and he took out his baseball bat.
Okay, because now you're doing too much. I'm calling the police. What are you talking about? I'm not about to confront nobody. Nowadays, wow, my voice. Nowadays, if you confront somebody, you might get shot. You might, you know what I mean. That's why I'm not with that confrontation. I'm not with none of that. If you want to be loud and get up all like, first of all, I'm not a fighter, right? I mean, I could probably fight. I just never fought before. But I don't think people really mess with me or want to mess with me because it's just like I work out. So like, you know, I'm kind of like, you know. But I try to avoid any confrontation whatsoever because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen in that fight.
Then he walked out the front door and was going straight for the car. When he made it almost halfway through the yard, the car quickly drove away, screeching the tires in the process. When my husband came back inside, he said that if the man ever returned, he would smash his car. Luckily, he never did. I didn't see that guy again after that. I'm guessing the man following me was hoping that I lived alone and possibly would have broken in. I really don't know for sure though. He must have been able to follow me at a distance without me noticing. When he first saw me though, I'm not sure. I'm just glad that I never saw him again.
Well, the bad thing about it is, he got your address, like he knows where you live at. So he's probably stalking you at night, you know? Just saying. He knows where you live at now, so it's just like it's not all good.
2 years ago, I went Christmas shopping at the mall with my wife. We went to this really big mall that has basically every store inside of it. We had a lot of shopping to do to buy presents for everybody in our families, including each other. After getting to the mall, we did lots of shopping for people in the family. It took hours to find all the stuff. We had our hands full with bags, so we went out to the car in the parking garage. Then we went back inside the mall after unloading. By now, it was nighttime and we were almost done shopping, but my wife and I decided to momentarily split up to try to find some gifts for each other. With how large this mall was, I figured this would be pretty easy to do. So I went to a couple of stores and I found something for her that she would really like, but I was trying to find something else as well. During this time, I remembered that I was walking in the mall and randomly this woman came up to me. She literally came up from behind me and tapped me on the shoulder. I did not know who she was. The woman then told me that my wife was looking for me and her phone was dead. She went on to say that my wife was downstairs outside by the north exit and wanted to meet me there. It just seemed really weird to me. I guess my wife must have asked this woman to tell me that. The woman then walked away before I could really say anything. I didn't know why my wife would be there though. I started to go to the escalator to go downstairs, trying to make sense of this whole situation. When I was on my way down though, I decided to try calling my wife. When I did, she didn't answer her phone. This made me start to believe the woman, so I started walking for the north exit. This exit was by far the quietest one and was rarely used anymore.
Oh, yeah?
That's because there was no parking lot there. It was just a sidewalk. Then there was a grass area with some trees and another building of a restaurant that was connected to the mall. There had used to be a parking lot there, but when the restaurant was built, it took the place of it. I walked over to the doors and then opened them. I looked outside and I did not see my wife. It was really dark out there now with little to no lighting, just a dim streetlight a ways down and then light coming from the restaurant. I stepped outside fully and looked around. I still didn't see anything. But just at that point, I felt my phone vibrating in my pocket. I took it out to see that my wife was calling me. I answered and asked her where she was. She told me that she was in the mall by the food court, kind of. At that point, I quickly walked right back inside of the mall myself. My wife went on to say that she hadn't noticed that I called her, so she was calling me back. I told her about the strange woman. We were both pretty much done shopping for the most part, so we met up by the food court and then went to the car and went home. I'm still really confused about the whole thing. Was I being set up to get robbed or something?
Yes!
I really don't know. I don't know who the woman was or how she knew my wife and I. I'm really glad that my wife...
You were set up to get robbed, jumped, clucked. I don't know what else. Yeah.
when she did though, or I don't know what would have happened.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You know exactly what would have happened. You would have came back home with some hemorrhoids.
A couple of years back, I had to do some last-minute Christmas shopping, so I went to Target. I was 18 at the time, and this was the night before Christmas Eve. You see, every Christmas, my family has a bunch of people over at our house. My grandparents, some aunts and uncles, and cousins all go to my parents' house. Almost everyone gets presents for basically everyone else, so it's a lot of fun. Now, I had gone Christmas shopping several times since Thanksgiving to that point, and I had almost everybody checked off my list. The last one was the hardest person for me to shop for personally. That was my cousin Josie. She was, I think, 14 at the time, and I just simply forgot to get her something. Plus, being a guy, I didn't really know what kind of gifts teenage girls like. So after my parents asked me if I...
Just get her like a gift card or something. Give her some money. That's it. I don't know.
made sure I had gifts for everyone, I remembered her. I headed down to the local Target, which was just down the road like 5 minutes away. I went inside, and it was not as busy as I expected. I don't recall the exact time, but it was maybe like 8 p.m. or so. It was mostly quiet, and I walked in and looked around. I didn't really know what I was looking for, though. I ended up just walking around the store for like 10 minutes, hoping that something would jump out at me. Eventually, though, I ended up settling on just a gift card, and then I checked out and I left the store. I had parked pretty close to the store, and almost right after walking out the doors, I noticed a man standing around by my car. It was a guy who looked fairly young, maybe 6 feet tall, and had short dark hair. He was just standing around right by my car, and I didn't know what he was doing. When I got closer, though, the man started to approach me. Then he asked me if I could give him a ride.
What?
I walked past him and said no, I could not. I obviously did not want to give a ride to some random...
Oh, I want to yell so bad. I want to yell so bad. All these other cars over here. There's 200 plus cars over here. And you want to ask me, Clutch, are you crazy? Are you crazy? What the hell? I represent Adidas. I am a dependent of Adidas gods. Did I say that right? I am a child of Adidas gods. And you gonna try to play with me? You gonna try to get me? Glitch, are you crazy?
Stranger that I had never met before. The man was persistent though. He walked alongside me and then cut in front. He said that he needed a ride badly and it was not that far. Nothing that he said was going to change my mind though. I told him that I could not give him a ride. He was blocking my way of getting in my car though, and I was worried that he was not going to let me in. I asked him to move and said that I was in a hurry and I was sorry, but I just couldn't do it. This seemed to work at first. The man walked around the front of my car and was no longer blocking me from getting in. He said that he understood and he was sorry for bothering me. I told him it was fine and to have a good night. Then I unlocked my car and reached for the door.
It's not fine. It's not fine. Get your cluck ass out of here.
By now, the man had walked around to the other side of my car, and it appeared like he was headed to maybe go inside Target. But like right after I hit the unlock button, the man swung around to the passenger side door and opened it. Then he started to go inside of my car. I had begun opening the driver's door, but I no longer went inside of it. Instead, I backed up and then closed the door. When this happened, the man then left the car as well, and quickly started walking around it, headed towards me.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? What's that song called? Or that game? Ring around the rosy. Or ring around the rosy. Something. Are we playing musical cars or something? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You got 2 seconds to get away from me. And I'm talking about like 6 miles away from me. For real. Dead ass. Before I cluck your ass up.
Instant, just out of reaction, I turned and just started running away. I sprinted through the Target parking lot. Unfortunately, the man was chasing me away from the Target and not towards it. So when I was running, I was going farther away. I kept going, and I ended up running through the entire parking lot and then into a nearby bank parking lot which bordered the Target property. The man was still chasing after me. The bank was closed, so I turned and ran across a quiet street where there was a strip mall way in front of the Target. I ran to a restaurant and saw that it was open, and then I went inside of it. Thankfully, the man did not follow me into the restaurant. When I was there, I waited inside and I called the police. I reported what happened.
You're just now calling the police? I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have called the police and just had them on the phone. Whole time, I noticed the kid by my car.
And I didn't leave the restaurant until the cops got there. They went back to my car with me and the passenger's door was still open. However, the man was gone. He was nowhere in sight and the police started to look around for him. I was able to go home at that point. That made for a very memorable Christmas shopping experience.
Yeah, no shit. You gonna remember that for the rest of your life.
This is something that happened back when I had just recently turned 16 years old and I was in high school. I lived with my parents, my older sister who was 18 and a senior in high school, and my other older sister who was 21 and in college. So sometime in December, maybe like a week before Christmas, my older sister, the one who was 18, asked me if I wanted to go shopping with her. I had recently gotten my first job, so I had a little bit of money and I had my license, but I did not have a car yet. My sister said that we could get Christmas gifts for our parents, as well as my older sister, who was not back from college yet. I agreed and was excited to do some shopping. We had gone Christmas shopping once already, but I was not able to get anything for my parents then because they had been with us. So we went out on a Saturday and first went to this local mall. After spending some time there and getting something for our sister and my mom, we then started looking for our dad. We went to the Best Buy, I remember, which was not in the mall but a separate store. My sister and I split up in the Best Buy because I was busy looking at the video games. Best Buy was always very interesting to me when I was younger, and it still is, because of all the TVs, computers, and video games. So as I was distracted by the video games, I remember my sister had been away from me for a while, but she came up to me and said that some creepy guy was following her around in the store. This got my attention, and I asked her about it. She motioned with her eyes to the other side of the store, and said that the guy had talked to her briefly and seemed creepy. She walked away from him, and he then kept trailing her at a distance. By now, he was like 3 aisles over and seemed to be looking at something else. This seemed kind of creepy to me as well. My sister then suggested that we leave and go somewhere else, and I agreed. So at that point, we didn't get anything, and we walked for the exit of the store. When we did so, I remember noticing the man start to walk in our direction with us. He was a good distance back, so it wasn't that obvious, but it was still clear to me that he was trying to follow my sister. We walked out the doors and onto the sidewalk out front. I hadn't really expected the man to leave the store with us, but he did. My sister went to the right and walked along the sidewalk instead of going to the car. I think she was afraid that if we went to the car, the man would follow us home or try to do something. There were other stores that were right next to the Best Buy and stuff though, thankfully, so we walked along the sidewalk until we reached one. It was a large clothing store that was next to the Best Buy, and my sister and I then walked inside of it. Unfortunately, the man following us did the same thing. He even entered the store as well, but he was still a good ways back. My sister told me that she had an idea. When we turned a corner, she quickly took out her car keys and put them in my hand. She told me to split up with her and then leave the store and go get her car. She would park out front and she would then leave. So I then turned and I walked in a different direction than my sister. The man continued to follow her as I walked off. Then I left the store. I walked over to the Best Buy parking lot and then I found my sister's Jeep and got inside. Then I drove around to the entrance of the clothing store and I parked on the side of the curb near the sidewalk out front.
Hold on now. Don't tell me she about to come out the front doors, see the Jeep, hauling ass, and then, yay! Oh, God, that hurt. Right in the Jeep. She yeet right in the Jeep.
I waited for her there. I was there for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Then I saw my sister come walking out of the store very quickly. She then ran all the way to the passenger side door and quickly got inside. I saw the man walking out of the store right after she got in. She told me to step on it and I drove away out of the parking lot. The man was not able to follow us. Most likely his car was still at the Best Buy parking lot. I drove us back home after that, and looking back, that was a scary situation. I'm really glad that I was able to help my sister get away from that guy.
Man, my throat. Oh my God.
This happened many years ago. It was Christmas time, and I went to Dollar Tree to do my Christmas shopping. I had several people that I needed to buy gifts for, and when I got to the store, it was pretty busy. There were a lot of other people around, probably also doing their Christmas shopping. So I shopped around and I found quite a few great gifts for people that I knew they would love. After being inside for maybe 30 minutes or so, I was just about done. At one point though, I remember hearing some yelling and commotion from the other side of the store. I walked over there to see what it was.
Why can't you just mind your own damn business? The only time you need to, like, if you're in a space like this, the only just like that comedian D. Ray Davis said, if you ever hear an argument and one of the people say, "All right, watch this," move, get out, haul ass. Because what are you doing? That was so stupid for you to say that. Oh, let me go check out to see what's going on. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Get your shit and get out. Or drop your shit and get out.
Before I got to the area. So then I finished my shopping and I headed to the checkout. When I got there, I put my items on the conveyor belt and I was getting quite a few things. I remember that when the cashier started scanning the items, some guy with a basket of stuff walked up right behind me.
Jesus.
He then dumped out his basket, mixing his items with mine. The cashier was so busy scanning things that she didn't really notice the guy doing it, and she was going to start scanning his stuff too. His items were mixed with mine, and it seemed like he was trying to get me to buy all his stuff. I stopped everything, telling them both to hold up. I asked the guy what on earth he was doing. He said that he didn't have enough money to pay for all his stuff.
I don't care. What are you talking? What? So you think just dumping your shit? You think just dumping your shit on top of my shit is gonna make me pay for your shit? You shut out of luck. I promise you that. How you gonna come up right behind me and dump your shit on top of my shit and expect for me to pay for your shit? That's not how shit work around here. And my voice not working either. Jesus. Maybe we can come to a conclusion or maybe we can come to an agreement. You know? How about, okay, look. Hey, hold on. I know. Just give me a second. All right? Just give me a second. I know you in the way back. I know you in the way back. Just give me a second, okay? This ain't going over here, dump his shit on top of my shit. Wow, my voice. Okay, look. This is what we can do, right? Maybe we can come to an agreement. You see my shit, right, cashier? You see mine? You see my stuff, right? And this is his stuff. It's kind of like mixed up with mine a little bit. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to separate our stuff, right? So this is mine, and this is his, right? Okay, this is what we're doing, right? Bet. You see me? You see me, Craig? Craig, you watching, right? Okay, right. This is what we're going to do. Because it's separated now, right? I'm going to pay for my stuff first, right? Right? You following me? I'm going to pay for my shit. I'm going to pay for my stuff. Make sure I get my receipt. Right? Make sure all the things are in my bag, right? You following me, right? You following me, right? You understand what's going on? Okay, cool. And this is your stuff, right? Right? Bet. So, this is what we about to do. I'm about to get my stuff, make sure that's secure, and then I'm gonna haul ass. Like what?
You needed me to get them for him.
I'm gonna try not to talk in the rest of the video because my voice is gone.
I told him that if he didn't have the money not to buy so much stuff. I took all his things and put them back in a basket and made it clear that I was not going to pay for them. The man then took his stuff and walked away. Then the cashier finished scanning my items and I got them in 2 bags and started walking away. I left the store and went into the parking lot. I was walking to my car when all of a sudden I heard footsteps quickly approaching me from behind. Before I could even look back, they reached me and I felt somebody try grabbing the bag that was in my left hand.
Oh no!
I must have good reflexes because I jerked the bag away and I was able to hold on to it. I then saw the man from inside. He had tried taking my bag from me and I moved it away from him and asked him what he was doing. The guy just turned around and then went back inside the Dollar Tree. I was convinced at that point that he was either on drugs or there was something wrong with him. After that, I was able to get inside my car and go home. The next day, I saw on the news that police had been at the Dollar Tree. Apparently, the same man punched 2 people inside before the police were called and he ended up being caught. That must have taken place very shortly after I had left. I'm really glad that he didn't beat me up or anything. It was a really crazy experience, to say the least.
Right. Oh, man. Jesus. Y'all stay safe out here. I understand this Christmas. Right? And I get it. It's love in the air. You got Christmas music playing. You're with your friends and your family. I get it. It's a good time. I mean, hell, it's Christmas. It's a good time. But at the same time, you need to be on that Adidas time. Merry Christmas. I love you guys so much. Wish me the best. Hopefully I get better. I will get better. All glory to God. Keep it cool. Keep it classy. I love you. Stay happy, my family.